on The Goat Show.
I took in a couple souls, so, you know, it gets bigger when you take souls.
Oh, shit. There's a whole method after you do the Ouija.
I'm conjuring spirits every day. I've conjured like 12 today so far.
I know she can run pretty fast, so that's good.
It's like incense. You're conjuring the spirits, you know?
I was going to say, then RDJ is my favorite black man ever.
Welcome to The Goat Show, where shadows creep and secrets flow beneath the veil of what you know.
I'm joined by my co-hosts, Fresh and Deezy. Welcome, you freakish, ghoulish beings, you. This is the Halloween episode of The Goat Show, as you can probably tell based on what we're wearing. I got me this Illuminati mask. I got the cloak action. I got the enchanted teardrop sending spells your way. Oh, what, Deezy? How you got a bigger red glowing thing than me? I thought we talked about this. Yours is all big.
That's not the only thing that's bigger.
Damn, Deezy.
I got a big knife.
So what happened was, between the time that we talked about doing this and the time that we did this, Deezy might have done some more deeds for our almighty Baphomet here. And his red jewel might have grown 3 sizes.
I took in a couple souls, so, you know, it gets bigger when you take souls.
That's what she said.
Okay. That Viagra Famet.
What?
Yep. This is a Halloween episode of The Goat Show. I'm so glad we have all made it. We might have had to sacrifice a few things, you know, in a seance to be able to get to where we are. But we're here. So that's good. And look, here in The Goat Show, we love Halloween. It's one of our favorite holidays of the year. Who doesn't like dressing up and being something that they're not for a little while? Something different than what they can be normally. Maybe a freak, you know what I'm saying? Breaking out in here. Fresh, I'm going to ask you, what is your favorite memory of Halloween?
So my favorite memory of Halloween is one of the few that I have from that time as a kid. And it's when my mom threw a Halloween party for me at my house and had a bunch of like the neighborhood kids come, and we did like the bobbing for apples and all that. And I mean, to me, that's my favorite, most like Halloween memory, core Halloween memory.
So you had like an old school, nostalgic Stranger Things type of Halloween, you would say?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I would say I kind of had the same thing. What about you, Deezy? Did you know, what's kind of your favorite memories of Halloween?
You know, getting candy was always great, but I do have to say that my favorite Halloween was probably last Halloween. Me and my wife got to stay home. There was football playing, and we had the door open, and we were just handing out candy. We had spooky music, football playing. The parents were coming up to our door and chatting with us and looking at the game. And like it was just super cool. It was the most interactive Halloween, and I was on the other side of it. But besides that, I love the costumes, man. I love wearing, you know, I dressed up as Wolverine once, dressed up as
You would make a good. I have to see that because we'll probably put it up here on the screen because you have the Wolverine look, bro. I could totally see it, man.
The only thing you're missing is you're not Canadian.
oh man. Is Wolverine supposed to be Canadian?
He is.
Yeah, he is.
Or just because Hugh Jackman is Canadian?
No, Hugh Jackman's Australian.
Yeah, he's Canadian. He was found in the Canadian forest. I think the Wolverine.
He's from Alberta. Him and Sabretooth.
Sabretooth. Well, that's cool, Deezy, man. What
Funny man. I've dressed up as so much. Freaking what's his name from the OxyClean? What's the OxyClean guy? Rest in peace.
You dressed up as the OxyClean guy?
Yeah, bro.
he also the guy that he slapped the seal guy,
Yes, it's like Billy, right?
something like that.
I'm gonna need to see a picture because I'm not sure I know what you guys are referring to. But what about you, Fresh, with costumes? Have you had what kind of costumes you had over the years?
I mean, look, I've done like movie accurate Batman. I've done like
Wait, hold on. I want to understand because we were talking about this earlier. What is the difference between normal ass Batman and movie accurate Batman?
well, one costume you can go to like Walmart and buy for $60, and the other one was so expensive that I rented it. I didn't buy it. So it's like the costume from the movie.
It's like body armor. Wait,
Yeah.
which movie though? Like, is it like the Michael Keaton or like one of the newer ones?
Yeah, no, it was the Michael Keaton one.
Right.
And so to me, that's the badass one. The shoes were Jordans, like, you know, it's really cool.
Were they?
Absolutely. The shoes are Jordan.
Shoes or Jordans? I mean, then that's obviously the best Batman costume. I personally, I got two. These are my two favorite costumes. I'll send, and we'll show those. But I think my second favorite costume is Slash from Guns N' Roses. Because I was in LA, living in LA. That's an LA thing. So Slash from Guns N' Roses with the freaking top hat and all that shit. I had a black wig, so like you had like so you could put it in the face and like you couldn't see the eyes and all that in the glasses. So that was my second favorite costume. My first favorite costume, I was Jules Winfield from Pulp Fiction, Samuel L. Jackson. Now, I do wonder if that counts as blackface. I don't think it does, but because I didn't put on anything, I stayed a brown man.
Okay, so two things. Like, yeah, like you are the complexion of the character you're playing, even if you are not the race. Do you understand?
Right. Well, that's a good question, right?
Right, like because this thing is racism is about skin color, correct? It's not about where you're from because like racism is happening between black and white people in America that are from America.
Right.
And you know what I'm trying to say? So it's not about where you're from as much as skin color. And then if that's the case, then well, you are the skin color.
I mean, that's how I feel. But looking, I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna get canceled. Maybe I gotta apologize because some people don't believe. Some people think that you have to be the race to be able to play the character of that race. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, Deezy. What do you think?
No, Robert Downey Jr. literally proved us wrong with Tropic Thunder.
I was gonna say, then RDJ is my favorite black man ever.
Yeah, no, you could play whatever. It's called acting, bro.
Hey, if RDJ can do it, all of us can do it.
Bro, have you seen this is just, it's kind of off track, but Boondocks, the show, the TV show?
I need to watch more that show because I've seen episodes, but I never really watched the whole thing.
Well, you should see the videos of the voice actors recording it, bro. It's the funniest shit you'll ever see. I swear.
It's not all
it's hilarious.
black guys?
They're not all black people. No, it's a lot of white people that are in that show. It's hilarious, bro. It's really funny.
Maybe that's why.
Also, I said check your messages, but it's Billy Mays. It's the guy that I dressed up as one year. The OxyClean guy. I don't know if you remember him back in the day.
Yeah, Billy Mays. Okay, yeah. I know what you're talking about now. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
And
yeah, he also, like I said, he also does like the seal thing where he's got that seal and the water's pouring out of the tank.
Right.
And he slaps the seal on the tank. Flex seal, yeah.
Right. Maybe I need to be the ShamWow guy next year. I don't know.
You're gonna love my nuts.
The ShamWow guy.
ShamWow.
He's ShamWow. He's Slap Chop.
From warm memories of the past, nostalgic, Stranger Things like memories of Halloween, to horrible PTSD memories of Halloween. My worst Halloween memory, and maybe it's not Halloween memory, I can't remember exactly when it was, but it was during the Halloween time, was when I was a young child, and my brother and his friends were mean to me. Okay, so this has got to be when I was like 4 or 5 years old because I looked it up today. Nightmare on Elm Street 3, which some people argue is the best Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Some people say it is the first like real superhero team movie. So for anybody who doesn't remember, Nightmare on Elm Street, you got Freddy Krueger, right? You got the hand with the claws, right? He'd be all up in your dreams and stuff, which is kind of terrifying. The idea that you go to bed and then in your dreams, dude's coming for you, slicing you up, doing all kinds of weird crap, right? So Nightmare on Elm Street 3, you got this group of, I guess, teenagers, and they're fighting Freddy Krueger and all this stuff. Anyway, I saw this movie way too young, but my brother he's 3 years older than me, and then his friends were kind of like, is when you're living in a rural town and there's Indians, like the age range is pretty wide. So his buddies were about maybe 2-3 years older than him. So and I guess all of us were watching movies. We'll get into that in a little bit, but maybe a little too young. But they had Nightmare on Elm Street 3 on. Obviously, as a 4 or 5-year-old child, it is not a movie to watch. It was terrifying. I feel like to this day, I probably have, my personality has been shaped. My brain has been warped from seeing that movie too young, and it may have had an effect on me as an adult. But what they used to do, or at least in this particular instance, is they would watch the movie. I'd be scared. I'd be holding, putting the covers over me because I couldn't, whatever. And then, they'd be laughing at me. First off, you motherfuckers would be laughing at my little kid ass. All right. Making me feel like a pussy. So they humiliated me first because they're laughing at me. I can't get through the movie. It's too scary. Right. Then when the movie's over, all right, what do? They start whispering to each other. Okay. And I'm under the cover, so I because I don't want to watch anything. I'm too scared. And then they quietly get up and leave. It was my buddy. I'm gonna say his name. He's a good dude, but it was his parents' house, his basement. So it's a basement. Okay, I lived in West Virginia. We have basements. So they kind of snuck out, and then I realized, oh, I'm not hearing anybody. So I kind of like pull the cover down. I realized I'm in this dark basement alone, with nobody else around. My brother left and all his friends left. So I'm stuck in this Nightmare on Elm Street. Okay. And it's like dark. I don't know. But it was dark in that basement. They didn't have like a lot of lights and windows in that basement. It was, it was a rec room, but it was dark. So I don't know if I woke up or if I got up. I don't know. I can't remember exactly, but I started freaking out. I'm like, oh shit, I don't know where I am. Where is everybody? They all left, whatever. Okay. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go upstairs, and to see who I can find. So I get up. I remember very clearly, it's visceral moment. I get up. The stairwell did not have a light bulb. It had an out light bulb. So it's a dark stairwell up to the top and it's a long stairwell up out of this basement into the first floor of this house. So I start walking up the stairs. It's dark. I'm freaking out, but I see that the door is like kind of slightly open. So I start walking up, and guess what happens? They were waiting for me at the top of the stairs, and they slammed the door shut, and they start going, Freddy Krueger's coming to get you. Freddy Krueger's coming to get. And I start bawling. I start freaking out. I start crying. I'm freaking out. And then my friend's mom was like, what's going on here? What are you guys doing? And then she opens the door, and then I tell her everything that happened, like, crying, like, we watched a Freddy movie. And then so now I'm even bigger bitch because I'm ratting them out. I done ratted them out. Trauma, man. And I'm dealing with it, Deezy and Fresh. I'm dealing with that trauma to this day. Even now, when it's dark, I'm not gonna say where I am, but sometimes it's dark at night. Sometimes I'm here alone, and I got the little light on in the kitchen just because you maybe want to get water in the middle of the night. And even now, I'm like a little bit freaked out by it. I'm like, oh shit, I got to go out in the dark. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll like sneak around, and you know what I'm saying?
I still, to the day, if I got to go upstairs and it's dark, I run my ass off. Like, I still feel like something's coming behind me.
Yeah.
My old house used to be haunted like 100%. So, when the Haunting in Connecticut first came out, I seen a billboard for it. And so me and a couple of friends went to my house and we are trying to watch the trailer. And we pull it up and it starts playing. And my buddy's girlfriend goes, hey, doesn't that house kind of look like your house? As soon as she says it, a picture frame fell off the wall and smoked an outlet. The power went out in the whole fucking house, bro. Blew the power in the whole house.
Whoa.
Like, bro, we were in high school, like smoking weed and shit. And it's like, that is one of the scariest fucking things. But my worst moment, and it's not like a Halloween moment per se, it was definitely in like the October time. It was fall. We were in like the woods behind my buddy's house, and his dad had just passed away, and there was they had tied their dog to the tree, and we were sitting down and we were using a Ouija board, and like whatever it was, something came through. Apparently nobody was moving it. I don't know. All I know is I wasn't moving it, and it was scary as fuck. Okay, claimed to be his dad, and
No.
then we're like, prove it, and the fucking dog was lying down, sleeping next to the tree, tied to this tree, jumped up and started running in circles, like choking itself to get away. And then we're like, all right, enough. And like the dog just went back to sleep, like nothing happened. And then we're like, hey, like we got to get out of here, whatever. Like we asked it to leave, and it wasn't letting us go. Like it was saying no. We're like, okay, goodbye. And it's like, no. Oh
my God.
Yeah, and then like I told my grandmother, she's like, "Oh, make sure you like throw salt over your shoulder." Like she's like telling me all these like things.
Oh shit, there's a whole method after you do the Ouija.
Yeah. You got to make sure you tell the spirits they're not allowed in your home. You got to throw salt. You got to do all kinds of crazy shit.
Oh shit, I better do that. What about you, Deezy? You got any terrible Halloween memories that have scarred you for life?
No, to be honest, not really, man. Especially not really paranormal experiences. Like even if I look back as a kid, I never really had anything really spooky happen. Um, we used to drive around here in AZ. We used to go to the reservation, and there's like a cemetery there that people like to go and walk around, and we'd go walk around there at night, and nothing crazy ever happened.
I like cemetery hangs, man. Cemeteries are, I mean, gravestone designs, they're baller, man. They're fire.
My godfather and his wife walk through the cemetery at night and smoke weed. That's their like.
Yeah.
They like to go there and just walk through, bro. You know.
Yeah, man. I mean, they're just chilling there. They like some company once in, now and again. Just don't go grave robbing.
Right. Well, the thing is though, is like I've heard weird superstitions about smoking in cemeteries, that it invites like spirits in or something. And like, so I don't smoke when I drive by a cemetery, I don't smoke. And so I wouldn't smoke walking through.
It's like incense. You're conjuring the spirits,
It's the same difference. It's a herb. You've made it into a stick and you're lighting it.
Right.
What's different from this and an incense?
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Well, if that's the case, I should have seen some ghosts already, bro. What the hell?
I'm conjuring spirits every day. I've conjured like 12 today so far.
I don't know if you know this, Deezy, but you are a ghost.
Right.
You're not of this realm. You are an interdimensional being.
Hey, that is a scary thought sometimes. Like, have you ever thought, like, you're like, this life that you're living is not real? You, like, fell sometime in your childhood and hit your head, and you're in a coma, and you're just living out this fake.
I was thinking this the other day, all right, because I was driving, and this guy hit the brakes really hard, and, I definitely hit the brakes, and, it was a little bit of screech action. And then, but it was like jarring, it was out of nowhere. Nothing happened. It was, I'm here, I think. But I do wonder about that. Like, what if it's like in another reality, I didn't react fast enough. Yeah, I got smoked out. Maybe I'm living in, maybe this is heaven. I don't know. Or hell.
I actually believe that to my core. I believe that there's been multiple times where I've died.
I think maybe that's what happens. Like you get
and
older
you
and
just
you're
move
like,
on.
And then you move to a timeline where you didn't die from that event.
That's like a real common theory, right? Is that you don't
Until when?
forever.
infinity.
But what if you're like 100 years old and you're just what if you're like Jimmy Carter?
Holy fuck. That guy needs to move on, bro. Your meat suit is dying, brother. Move to the next life.
Early voting. Well, listen, this Nightmare on Elm Street thing kind of brings up something that I'm not really into these kind of movies, but if they're creative, like Nightmare on Elm Street 3, they're really good. But there was a movie, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, a movie series called Terrifier. if you guys are familiar with Terrifier movie series. So there's a lot of interesting aspects to this to the newest movie that came out, Terrifier 3, and to this whole like series. So basically, short story is that Damien Leone, I believe is his name. I don't know if Leone is his real last name or if he's pulling it from Sergio Leone, but Damien Leone, he's been making these Terrifier movies since 2016, I believe. He did a couple of shorts that became sort of anthology movies, and then he did the first Terrifier movie. I think the first Terrifier movie came out in 2016. He might have made the shorts before that. I watched it. Pretty good slasher movie. Me personally, I'm not a big slasher movie. I like survival movies where people have to escape things and then they escape it. But I can't say I'm a really big slasher movie a slasher movie fan where, you're just watching it for the kills. I don't know. Or what about you guys? Like, do you like slasher movies fresh?
I actually don't really like slasher movies too much. It's not that I don't like them, because when they're done well, like for example, like would you consider Mike Myers to be slasher?
Yeah, yeah.
But like so, for example, I don't really like the Terrifier.
Right, right.
I don't like it because I feel like it's bloody just to be bloody. You know what I'm trying to say? It's not gory for like whatever. It's gory just to be gory. You know what I mean?
Right,
And
right.
I like realistic gore. I like whatever. If you stab somebody and they bleed out and you see the blood and you see the splatter and stuff, that's cool. It's fine. It's
Right.
just like I don't know. I feel like it's maybe the Terrifier feels unnecessary to me.
It's too like it's gratuitous.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you like slasher movies, Deezy? Or are you a fan of those types of movies?
I like film in general. I just like it as an art, but I think that the ones that I enjoy more, like back in the day, some of my favorite scary movies, like 13 Ghosts. Have you seen that?
Yep.
No, I don't think I've seen that.
It's a pretty good one.
And it's like a slasher movie where people just die left and right, or
Yeah, I mean it's gory. People die in crazy ways because they have like these 13 goats trapped in these boxes, and all of them are like the worst of the worst type ghost demon things, and they get released into the house and they're trying to get out of the house. It's pretty interesting, and they're like ghost hunters or ghost catchers, and they like capture these spirits and then they lock them up in this house, and it's super interesting. But I like the scary movies that kind of have like a puzzle to them.
yeah, yeah.
That make you think, or like some that make you kind of have to figure out what happens. Like Scream is a good example of that because
Yeah.
there's two killers, and we watched the new one, by the way. I don't know if you've seen the new one.
I started it, but I didn't finish it. Did you like it?
It was pretty good.
It was all right.
It wasn't horrible.
I like creative Halloween movies. It's not I guess what defines a slasher movie is that it's like person with a person going around stabbing, killing, like just like a psycho or whatever, right? That's like what really. But I mean, because like, would you call Nightmare on Elm Street a slasher movie, or is it like? Because what I like about Nightmare on Elm Street, I've always liked about it. After I got over my trauma watching them, is they're creative
And psychological. But here's the thing is that's what I would say. Because it's definitely like it's a slasher. Like he doesn't have one knife, he has 5 little knives or 10 little knives, right? So but
He's also not a human. He's like he's a spirit of some kind.
it's paranormal, it is a slasher, and it's psychological, right? It's like a
Right.
psychological thriller with paranormal and slasher aspects or traits.
Right.
Because I would actually say it is more of a psychological thriller than it is a slasher, even though the deaths are so gruesome.
Right.
I don't think that changes the fact that the point of the movie is for Freddy to get in your fucking head, like for it to creep you out, like on that visceral level.
Yeah.
Like what happened to you when you were a child, right? Like that's
Right.
the point of the movie. Just you're not supposed to see it when you're that age.
Right. Like I wouldn't say The Shining is a slasher movie, even though one of the most famous scenes of any quote unquote horror movie ever is, Jack Nicholson looking through the door and the axe scene, right?
Right, but the whole movie is not the axe scene, right? That's the thing.
I would say, like in that movie, for me, the most scary thing are the 2 girls, the twins, right? And they don't do anything.
Yes, absolutely. The hotel itself is the antagonist.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say? So like that, again, it's a psychological thriller. It may be all these other things or have these elements in them that, again, help to make up a good horror movie. But the basis of that movie is a psychological thriller.
I guess the reason I never got into a lot of those movies, even as a kid, because it takes a level of cheesiness for those people to actually die to those things. Like Mike
Right.
Myers, like Jason, like someone always trips, someone always does something. You're like, oh my God, dude, like you're such an idiot. You know what I mean? Like yourself watching it, you're like, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I would.
Yeah, I gotta push back on you, bro. So listen, I agree with you. When you're watching it in the moment, you're thinking, "Oh, bro, this fucking idiot." But you ever get flustered, bro? Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Now imagine there's a guy in a fucking William Shatner mask chasing you down the fucking street with a big fucking knife, and he just killed your neighbor or whatever, right? Like, I don't know, bro. You might stumble. Like,
I mean, I might have to agree with Fresh, because one night I was here at the house and I think my mom was, and my family was out, so I had I was here alone. And I think in hindsight, what it was is it was sometimes we get peacocks. We're in Florida. Sometimes peacocks just fly in and run around, right? And one night I'm working at the computer in the kitchen at the dining table, and on the door I start hearing pecking or rapping, like Edgar Allan Poe shit, like a rapping at the door, and I froze, man. I was like, I wasn't like prepared for it at all. I wasn't like, oh shit, let me go get the gun, or let me go, do this. And I was definitely like, I mean, I learned a lesson that night. I was like, man, somebody came in here and started trying to do stuff. I'm a freaking deer in headlights, man. I just freeze and like my brain goes crazy. I don't know. I mean, I feel like DC with you, you're a fighter, you know how to, when it comes to fight or flight, I feel like you're fighting.
this is why I'm saying, like, so I agree that in the moment you feel that way when you're watching it or whatever. And again, for most part, like, look, for example, when we were talking to Phil, I was talking about Screamers, the haunted house, and I kicked the guy, right? So likely mine, Deezy's, whatever, the response is likely to fight. However, like, random person in the middle of the night, like, and 90% of the victims are women, or you know what I mean? It's like, kind of, I can understand how they get there.
I do agree with you though on some level, DZ. There are a lot of horror movies where the main characters makes really dumb mistakes. So
Yeah.
I'm not
We
saying
should
that.
split up. Oh my God.
Oh
You're
my God,
both
bro,
dead.
I'm gonna tell you something. If we're ever in a real life situation and you say we should split up,
We ain't splitting up.
bro, listen, if there's 3 of us and you say it, I'll be like, all right, bro, you go by yourself that way and we're going this way, because I already know now you're a liability.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we would have to form a phalanx, like the Romans, speak, and like we're gonna face outward and we're gonna move together. I mean, I think that's the way to do it, not split up and all of us die individually
Yeah, bro, Viking shield wall,
with whatever we got in our hands. So
whatever, bro, I'm breaking the drywall down.
Like Scream, for instance, they're just normal people. There's nothing paranormal. They have a knife.
right.
Like, them motherfuckers are not gonna get me with one good. They're not getting me with a stab,
Right, but that's why they get stupid high school kids.
bro. Even when I was in high school, I was a wrestler. I was still a fucking championship boxer. I was ready to go. I bet you I would have fucked them up.
That's why you and your homies wouldn't have been dead, bro.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
What about your girl, DZ? You think like your wife? Would you think she'd be prepared if like somebody called her and was like,
What's your favorite scary movie?
She'd probably say, she'd figure out who, she'd be like, who is this? She probably wouldn't take it seriously. And at some point, she would say, if you come to my house, my husband will murder you.
Yeah.
So, look, if she's by herself, which is not often, then what would she know what to do? I think so. You grab the strap.
you gotta get her trained up, man, with the strap, maybe some knife moves, like one of those things, like
I know she could run pretty fast, so that's good.
right. kick them in the nuts, go for a run. I bring this up because with the Terrifier movies, I will say that the Terrifier movies, kind of some dumb decisions. I think there are a couple of dumb decisions by the different characters in these movies. Some of them, I haven't seen the third one yet, but the second one, some smart decision making. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I can't say that they're all dumb. There are some stupid things that happen though. But what I will say is that first Terrifier movie, pretty gratuitous. There's some pretty violent stuff in there. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but some chick gets, carved in half, literally hung upside down, naked. So that's a bit hardcore. The second movie, there is one scene. It's pretty gratuitous, and there's a lot of really violent stuff. But the second movie, there's one scene that is like sadistic, really sadistic. It made me kind of like, whoa, like this is, because here's the thing about the Terrifier movies is like they do not shy away from showing it all, and showing it all in close up action, clearly, yeah, and the main dude, Art the Clown, enjoys his work, like enjoys it. He's not he thoroughly enjoys his work. He's not a faceless assassin like Michael Myers or that what do you call it, Jason or whatever. Like this dude he makes facial expressions. He's a clown. He's like ha ha, ha, like and he'll do some really 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 awful things. And they're not afraid to like kill anybody at any time. So there's a kind of Game of Thrones element to it. So kind of what it reminds me of, that like you don't know really who's gonna, like someone you think might be the hero gets killed, and then when they get killed in a really gratuitous way. And sometimes they get killed in front of people they love, and then the people they love get killed. So it's like it's intense, man. It's definitely not my cup of tea, and there's not really a interesting lore or in my opinion. I'm probably gonna get a lot of heat for this because a lot of people love these Terrifier movies, but
Well, then tell me why, bro. In the comments, tell me why the fuck you love this movie so much or this series so much. What is it about it? Like, are you just a psychopath and you want to drink the blood that's being spilled, or what is it, bro?
well, I think one element which I do find interesting, which is kind of outside of the movie itself, it's kind of like the part of the phenomenon is, I think Damien Leone, who makes these movies, and he's a true indie filmmaker, like true indie filmmaker. All these movies, he's like either crowdsourced or funded with money that is not from the big studios in any way whatsoever. He's built this franchise literally himself from the ground up for the most part, and every movie he makes, it does well. He's doing it like a real entrepreneur would make these movies. Like he made the first one. I think it was like the first one was really, really cheap, and he made like, I think it was like 10x's money or something back on it. And every movie that he's done since, even including the newest Terrifier movie, which is kind of a big deal, he's made, I think it's like 100x plus returns on every movie he's made. So, and which is fascinating because we recently had the Joker movie, Joker 2. That movie completely flopped, and the major story that came about was that Terrifier 3, which was made for a fraction of the budget of Joker 2. I think it was like $250,000. I have to check up on that, but
And Joker 2's what? Like 250 million?
oh yeah, it was a huge,
370 million or some bullshit like that?
yeah. And Terrifier 3 outdid Joker on its opening weekend. Which is crazy to think about. And here's even crazier to think about is that Terrifier 3 is an unrated movie, as in it didn't go through the MPAA system, which is unheard of for a number one movie in America in movie theaters to be an unrated movie. So it's that I think is pretty amazing. And I think that's actually really inspiring. The idea that, okay, we live in a world now where you can be an indie filmmaker, and just like you would with a startup or any brand, you make things for your customers. And this Terrifier 3 thing's been going on for 10 years plus, and now it's reaping the rewards. And I think a lot of people go see these movies not just for the kills and all that kind of stuff, but they go because they're fans of Damien Leone. Because I think after Terrifier 2, they said that all the Hollywood guys were circling him, and he talked to a bunch of these guys. And he just decided, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to raise money privately, and we're going to do the third Terrifier movie ourselves. And now look where he is. So, but going back to what you were saying, Fresh, with like, why do people? I don't know. I guess some people love seeing other people get harmed. I mean, I don't know. I guess I like violent movies.
Yeah, but like, bro, it's not. Listen, it's not about the violence. Like I said in the beginning, like it's more so about that it's just bloody and whatever for no reason, right? It's not. It's not like I don't know. It's not to me. It doesn't add anything.
I have to see the third movie to see. I know that there's some like lore and stuff like that. So the second movie has like kind of a main. They call it the final girl, right? Like the main chick at the end and her brother, and she literally has an angel costume on, and there's kind of like this lore there, and they're making it more like supernatural with Art the Clown, where he like is resurrected and he's kind of more a spiritual ghoul now. But and I haven't seen the third movie yet, so I can't speak on that.
You want a truly scary movie, you should look into this movie. It's called Frazzle Drip.
That may be a movie that's unrated for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely unrated.
It's a cult classic, from what I understand.
I hear it's so scary it makes people like throw up and shit.
All right. Well, listen, I just think it's kind of interesting with this Terrifier 3 movie. I think that there's and we'll get back to Frazzle Drip in a second, but I think it is inspiring, and I think what Damien's doing is cool, and I think that that's gonna maybe a pathway for a lot of other filmmakers to kind of pursue their passions. I do want to ask you guys, other than Frazzle Drip, what is your scariest movie? What's the one movie even now when you watch it? It's a hard watch, or you have a hard time. Is there not a single one, Deezy, that disturbs you to this day?
No, like I'm not really, dude. I like Jeepers Creepers.
Yo, I'm telling you right now, bro, that is a good one. That's not what I was going to say, but I agree with you, bro. When I hear that fucking song, that Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those peepers, bro? Right now I feel fucking creeped out. Like when I drive by cornfields, I always expect to see that motherfucker. Like, so yes, I agree with you. That's a fucking great one. For me, the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, I like found footage because I don't know if I still feel. I'd have to rewatch it. It was a long time ago. I saw it in the theaters. You can believe that, and it was definitely creepy in the theater. People.
Paranormal Activity 1.
Ooh, I need to watch. I've never watched that. I need to
They're
watch
so
that.
like they're unsettling, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
The
that was
first
another
one
movie
and
that
the second one. The first two were pretty good. After that, I was like, okay, it's the same shit. It's not that scary anymore. It's like, okay.
right.
But I'm supposed to build off of each other. I'm not 100% sure.
Right.
What about you?
I don't know. I'm trying to think like what's still. I don't know if like horror movies stick with me more than
The
other kinds of
Exorcist, the
movies.
original Exorcist,
You know, the original Exorcist is still fire, man.
Fucking original,
definitely.
the Poltergeist.
I need to rewatch Poltergeist. It's still good.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
The old man's still creepy as fuck. Like, bro, the whole thing's creepy as fuck.
I might have to check that out tonight. I've been watching a lot more Halloween movies the last couple of weeks. I've been watching a lot of the classics that I never really got around to. I watched Hellraiser for the first time. That movie is creepy. It's not.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it's scary, but it's like it's freakish. That movie is one of a kind. I feel like I don't think I've ever seen anything really like it, and the story is like really bizarre, and I don't know.
It's definitely a weird one. It's good though. I was gonna say it earlier, but so many movies are flooding in my brain, so it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Beginning.
I mean, Shining still freaks me out. A lot of the stuff in there, but one thing that I did want to recommend, and I know Fresh, you're watching the show, and I'm not sure if Deezy had a chance to check it out, but From, which is a TV show on MGM Plus. I'm watching it through Amazon Prime.
Me as well.
Man, this show is great. So if anybody out there is looking for a new TV show to watch in general, but if you are someone who likes scary stuff, man, those monsters in From are like wild.
So I want to ask you, what do you think they are?
Man, So just so people know, there's a central mystery. The whole thing's a mystery at this point about what's going on. But the basic concept of the show, I don't think it's a spoiler, is that people are driving just down the road and then they come across a fallen tree. And when you see that fallen tree, you're now in this alternate uh, dimension or something where you can't escape. And it's this town, and it's kind of like I was saying, it was kind of like Lost. It's just there's a lot of mysteries and stuff in this town. There's mystical stuff. It's weird. It's hard to say whether it's like I don't know what it is, but when during the day you're okay, but when night comes, you got to get inside. Otherwise, these monsters come, and they're weird, and I almost don't want to say what they are at all, but they're weird and they're sadistic. Like they're thinking monsters. They and their whole mission is to like mess you up, either by killing you or by torturing you. So, um, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what those monsters are. I'm confused. I've been on Reddit reading all the different things, and I mean, some people say they're like what Irish fairies. Some people say it's some
Okay,
other thing.
so yeah, so that is my my most educated guess is that they are the show writer's rendition on the Fae.
Can you explain what that whole thing is?
So like the Fae are like basically Irish and Scottish like fairies. They're known to like kidnap kids. Like kids go missing into the forest. They like lure them away from home and stuff like that. And my main reason I won't give any spoiler reasons for why I think they're the Fae and or anything that goes on in the show. But my main reason is because Fae in Scottish and Irish translates directly to the word from.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yes.
Okay,
So that's all I will say about the monsters, but that's my main reasoning. I've been saying it the whole
Yeah.
time is that
Yeah.
this is what I think they are.
Yeah.
But learning that word translates to the word from
Yeah.
for me is like that's the dead giveaway that they're just doing their own rendition on the Fae.
Okay.
But I feel like
Interesting.
even knowing that and knowing what the monsters are, that's not even a quarter of the
Oh,
questions that
man.
I have about that show.
And I'll be honest, it's getting frustrating. We're in almost at the end of season 3. And I mean, these motherfuckers gotta start answering some questions because I'm worried that the show, this is my only fear in the show, is that it's going to start spiraling out like Lost or Game of Thrones, where they're not going to explain anything. And if they do that, I'm going to be pissed because I'm invested. I'm in it. So I'm hoping that they have an explanation for all this stuff and they can tie all these different things. But they keep introducing new mysteries, and I'm starting to get, I don't
Okay,
know.
but okay, I agree with you, and I've been on board with you the whole time of like kind of complaining that they're not whatever. However, none of the people in this show are really connected outside of this place, right?
Right.
So once they figure it out and get out, there's nothing left.
Right.
So that's likely only going to happen for one, maybe 2 episodes of
right.
everybody getting out.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm trying to say? So
Right.
I think that like I agree, I would like some questions answered, but I'm here for the ride because I think that it only takes so long to do that, and I don't want the show to end.
Right, right. I'm just saying, like, I can't even count the number of threads, but I would say there's like 10 or it's like, I mean, roundabout. There's a bunch of mysteries and little mysteries, like little things. And I won't talk about it because I don't want to spoil it for anybody who's not, a lot of people haven't seen the show, but there's all these like little mysteries. And I'm just like, just answer some of the little ones, or at least give us an idea of like where this is going. But, I guess we'll see as it comes. I definitely recommend it, Deezy. Like I don't know if you've seen an episode yet or not, but
It's for some reason it sounds familiar. Maybe is it old or has it been around for a while?
no, it's new. I think it's like last 2-3 years. So it's been around for about 3 seasons. Yeah.
Okay, it sounds familiar. So maybe a couple of years ago, the first season, I maybe started watching it. I don't know. Who knows?
I will say this: I started watching it after the 2 seasons were added to Amazon. So I think if I had started watching it before anything, I don't know. That first episode is great. I feel like I got hooked from pretty much the beginning. So
However, would you be more frustrated because you haven't been waiting week to week for every piece that you get, right? Like I did the same thing. It's like 2 seasons watched at once, and then now watching the 3rd season.
dude, if I had been watching from the beginning, season, week to week, I'd definitely be way frustrated right now. I'd be like, golly, please answer something,
Absolutely.
It's on Amazon Prime. MGM Plus is I don't know if they have their own channel or not, but definitely recommend that. So I have a question though, before we move on to some of the Halloween history stuff. I know we're going a little long, but do you feel like watching scary movies when you're young or violent movies when you're young, do you feel like that affects people in any way? Like, because with Terrifier 3, one of the stories that came out was that sales for Wild Robot, which is a kids movie, started going up. And what they were finding is that these kids that were going to go to this like kids movie, they weren't going into that theater, they were sneaking into Terrifier 3. And a lot of people did that, I know, growing up, and definitely watched slasher movies too young. And I don't know, but I keep thinking like, I'm getting older, and like if I had kids, like how do I feel about? I mean, Terrifier 3, from what I've seen, some of the scenes are like they are brutal, man. It's really gory. Like I think there's like a scene where it's a couple, having sex in a shower, and then this dude just comes in with a chainsaw and starts like carving them up. But it's like a long scene. It's not like just, oh, he has a chainsaw and then it disappears. It's like, no, it's like graphic, gratuitous chainsawing going on of, these two innocent people. I'm just like,
Penis is flapping, like
yeah.
it's like a little, again, it's a little egregious. Like, and I'm not saying that there's like I feel like there's a tactful and tasteful way to do it,
Yeah.
right? And I feel like there are some slashers that are good at it, but Terrifier I don't think is, in my opinion. I think it's for the true like gruesome horror morbid fans, right?
Right.
But I would say that like being exposed to that as a child is pretty dangerous. I think it's dangerous. I
Yeah.
think that it could cause like lifelong fears. Like for example, like you're saying, like you still deal with that now. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
definitely when it's dark, I'm like,
Yeah.
I get a little bit of anxiety.
Or cause maybe psychopathy. Like I don't know.
I don't know. I mean,
Maybe that's
I'm
the
definitely
litmus
someone
test.
who's I'm on different. I don't know. I mean, I don't think that it's hard, man. Because on the one hand, it's like, should you be banned from viewing something? Like,
No,
well,
no.
I'm an
But
individualist. Like, but yeah, I
being
worry about.
banned doesn't mean that isn't the same thing. Like what you
Right.
should do and me stopping you from doing it are two different things. Like my
Right.
advice is don't watch it if you're young.
Right.
But like, I mean, if you're making your own decisions, you're your own person. You're autonomous.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Deezy? Can you like? Did you watch violent? Like, I can say for sure not a horror movie, but I saw RoboCop when I was young. I'm talking like,
There was nothing off limits, bro.
yeah,
If my mom watched it, I watched it.
right.
Facts.
Do you feel like as long as a parent is there to, I mean, did she ever talk? Like, my dad would talk to me about it when we watch violent movies. He would be like, it's funny with my dad. We would watch shit like Predator, RoboCop when I was a little kid, right? Like Aliens, super violent movies, scary movies, kind of. He never liked slashers. He thought they were too satanic. But a Christian man, he didn't like the slashers. But he wouldn't get that bent out of shape with violent stuff. But he would definitely, when it had sex in it or bad language, he would be all messed up with. He'd be like, "No, you can't watch that." So I don't know. It's like, and I don't know if that affected me watching violent movies when I was young.
I grew up in San Diego, California. My mom is from the Bay Area. Like, it's there. You just you grow up young. You think
Right.
you learn that it's a movie, and it's a movie. So you either enjoy the movie because it's scary, or it makes you feel some type of way, or you don't watch it. But
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that you're gonna do this shit because you've seen it done. Or I was playing Grand Theft Auto when I was like 7 years old, bro. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
driving around, picking up prostitutes and paying them in a video game, and like doing
Right.
shit in a game that I definitely shouldn't have been doing at that age, and seeing all kinds of scary movies and whatever. It doesn't matter
Right.
if you're
Right.
ready. If you're prepared to understand what's happening, I think it's okay, right? Like you weren't. I don't think that the movie itself is what got you. I think like if they didn't scare you afterwards, you probably wouldn't have had the same reaction.
Right.
You know what I mean? What if they just stayed there the whole time with you, watched it, and then they're like, "So what do you think about it?" Versus like sneaking away and then waiting for you and scaring you to like traumatize you. That's
right.
you know. And my mom, we would scare each other and shit, but it wasn't like that. Like
I'll tell you what the scariest movie for me of all time is. It's not even a horror movie, and it's the one that I to this day I think has affected me. Was I watched Born on the 4th of July way too young, but in a good way. I don't know if you guys have seen. Have you seen that movie? Either of you guys? Oh, dude. Oh, dude. It is Tom Cruise's, in my opinion, Tom Cruise's best performance, hands down. He was nominated for an Oscar for it. It's 1989, I think. It's an Oliver Stone movie, and it's just about a dude. I don't think this is a spoiler. It's about a dude who goes to Vietnam and he comes back. What do you call it? As a paraplegic. And it is even now I'll watch that movie and there are certain scenes in that movie that really fuck with me a lot. And I feel like it's what made me that's the first thing I ever saw that made me anti-war. Like that I think when I think about it, I'm like, what's my journey to where I am now as like an anti-war sort of libertarian type of individual? And I really think it's that movie. I mean, Oliver Stone was the original, the original conspiracy theorist, I think, in terms of wide, presenting conspiracies to a wide audience. But I still think that's, that movie. And I guess I did watch Natural Born Killers when I was too young, as a teenager. But by that, I think once you're 13, you'd be all right. You know what I'm saying? I'm just worried about below 13. But yeah, Born on the 4th of July, man. If you guys haven't seen it, like I recommend it. That movie still affects me. And even now when I watch it, I still get choked up at certain parts. But all right, wait. DC, you brought up Frazzle Drip, which is a scary movie. And so there's movies that aren't real. And then there's maybe a couple that are real. And there's a couple of real life things that happen. And I feel like I'm more scared of that stuff than anything Terrifier 3 can throw at me. You know what I'm saying? At least Terrifier 3 I can walk out and go, okay, that's all special effects. That's not real. That's hardcore, but at the end of the day, it's a bunch of people behind the scenes, that are super talented putting together these amazing props or whatever. So I do want to ask you guys, what are the things in real life that are the scariest things for you as it stands right now?
Bro, I'll be honest with you. The things that scare me the most are like the 13 Bloodlines and Pizzagate. And it's not that they scare me on the level like they make me want to do something. It's a different type of fear. They make me want the power to fix the problem.
Can you elaborate on the 13 Bloodlines and all that kind of stuff for anybody who may not, maybe under a rock, doesn't know the sort of Illuminati type things?
I mean, basically, without going too deep into it, every single world leader, every single king, queen, sultan, whatever you can think of, can all be traced back to the 13 bloodlines of, I guess you would say the 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati, or the 13 head bloodlines.
I think the dude that really wrote a comprehensive book on this, PDF, I think we can put it in the show notes. Fritz Springmeier, I think is his name. He also wrote a book that I think is terrifying as well, which is called, I think it's like How to Make a mind control sex slave or something like that. We'll put that in the show notes. That one's freaky because like, I don't know how he knows all this knowledge. I think he claimed that he had insider info, and who knows, but that one I'm like, man, that you see all these like celebrities doing all these live performances with like kind of demonic things and behaving certain ways, and you hear about Diddy and all this kind of stuff, and then you read that book and you're like, oh shit.
You got the Bohemian Grove insiders.
Although that kind of, then they have somebody sneak in, and it was just kind of like, it's not quite what it used to be from what they say.
Sure, pal. Like whatever you say, I'm gonna tell you, you need to have a little bit more pull to get to the place where you're like dancing in front of Moloch or whatever, you know?
What about you, Deezy, man? What's the real life shit that fucking freaks you out?
In this darkened hour, the ancient omens intertwine with the cold foreboding of our current epoch, where the earth, once a cradle of life, now wails in agony. The skies veiled in the smoke world consuming itself, whisper of an apocalypse not foretold by seers, but crafted by human hands. Civilizations stand at the precipice, their foundations crumbling under the weight and greed and indifference. The rivers run dry, the forests scream in silent pain, and the air grows very thick with the breath of impending doom. We are but shadows now, moving through the narrative already written by our own neglect, where every step echoes with the hollow sound of an end that is not just near, but upon us.
So what about spirit cooking parties? What about these Rothschilds with these freaking things? There's so much we could go on about. At the end of the day, how do you feel about Halloween? Do you feel like this is something we need? Is it of the devil? Is this something that we as human beings should celebrate? The dark energies that may be around us, the dark corners of our psyche.
Bro, it's just a little bit of fun now. You know, it's not, it doesn't mean what it used to mean. So like, you know, you want to have fun with it, dress up and get some candy. There's no problem with it for me. Or, you know, dress up and go out and have a night of partying and debauchery in a mask. I mean, do it up. I don't see any harm in it.
You will be judged.
All right. Well, Deezy doesn't agree with you, Fresh. It's not a good bit of fun. You're going to get judged. I look at, look, Halloween's what you make it. Halloween's how whatever you dress up as. You know what I'm saying? I say, if you're a dude, go out there, sow your wild oats on Halloween night. If you're a lady, listen, whatever you can wear, whatever you want. It's got to be sexy though. You got to do a sexy thing. Unless you're married, then then you can dress like a potato or whatever. But
they have Teletubby costumes.
There you go. So yeah, if you're married, be faithful to your man. If you got a guy, be faithful. Don't be going around dressed all sexy maid, sexy whatever costume. Okay. Well, gentlemen, listen. I say we raise a glass of bloody coagulated blood on my end. I guess you guys have what? Oh, you got that fresh blood, huh? You got that good fresh blood. I got this freaking old dirty ass blood. Anyway, cheers to you guys.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Cheers to
Happy Halloween. All Hallows Eve.
All Hallows Eve. Cheers to Damian Leone. Hey man, we may not get your movies, but hey, cheers to you. You're a G, doing it right. Cheers to Freddy Krueger. Hey, listen, you traumatized me for life, but what are you gonna do? Maybe it's made me more, what do they call it? Vigilant. I'm more perceptive of what's going on around me. I'm more paranoid, so that's a good thing. That actually can preserve someone. Shout out my brother and his friends. Hey, you've been on the show before, bro.
I'll cheers them for that. Cheers for fucking with him.
Wait, you're cheersing my PTSD?
Yes, right. Absolutely. It made you the man who ended up as my business partner. Cheers to that.
All right. Fair enough. Cheers to the Christians. Hey, listen, I get it. You got it. There's dark forces out there. There's evil out there. You got to offset it somehow. You can't just let everything be dark all the time, So cheers to y'all. Satanic panic. Cheers to you. Made us all more aware of crazy stuff happening in the world, whether it's real or not. And yeah, I think that's about it. Fresh, what's the people got to do if they enjoyed this episode?
You gotta like, you gotta subscribe, you gotta hit the bell, you gotta comment, you gotta send it to your mom, send it to your aunt, send it to a ghost, a ghoul, a goblin.
Send it to that lady who decided to wear that sexy version of that outfit.
If you don't send it, you will be judged.